few months ago, we came out with an episode that was somewhere in between a love letter and an intervention. We detailed how, from our perspective, Nissan is blowing it as a company, and how many of their problems were tied to the decisions of Carlos Ghosn, the ex-CEO accused of underreporting his salary at Nissan by millions. A man who smuggled himself out of Japan to flee prosecution, despite his claims that he was set up by Nissan.
We treated like a terrorist in Japan, like somebody who's going to hurt other people.
With rumors of the new 400Z coming out this year, it's clear that Nissan is trying to turn things around. Did they listen to us? Did we just save Nissan? And was Carlos Ghosn framed? So many questions. All we want is a cool car again. Mario Andretti, Jeff Gordon, young Sheldon. What do these people have in common? They all have great hair. Big shout out to our sponsor this week, Keeps. The sad fact is that 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35. The good news, though, is that with today's scientific advancements, Keeps offers proven treatments that combat the symptoms of hair loss. You used to have to go to the doctor's office and wait in line to get a prescription. Not anymore. With Keeps, all you have to do is visit a doctor online and your medication gets shipped straight to your home. And that can come in pretty handy when you're hours into a young Sheldon marathon. Find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competition, and nearly 100,000 men trust Keeps for their hair loss medication. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/wheelhouse50 to receive 50% off your first order. That's right, 50% off. That's keeps.com/wheelhouse50. Thank you, Keeps. Support the companies that support donuts. Look, I'm no dum-dum. I'm sure that Nissan has been developing a 400Z for years now. I know that I, a lowly internet auto journo wannabe, have no bearing on a billion-dollar multinational company. But I would really like to believe that Nissan listens to their fans. And you and I, we're fans at heart. So when new rumors came out about their newest venture, the so-called 400Z, it made me happy to hear that they're taking steps to re-energize their brand. I'm not so sure what to think about Carlos Ghosn, though. He's a slippery guy who was arrested in November of 2018. Earlier this year, Ghosn evaded Japanese authorities by smuggling himself in an audio equipment shipping container and fled to his home country of Lebanon. What? Ghosn recently came out with a statement blasting Nissan and the Japanese judicial system, a system in which 99.9% of accused persons are convicted. But, quote, partly because prosecutors only pursue cases when they are extremely confident the suspect will be proven guilty, which doesn't bode well for Carlos Ghosn. In an interview, Ghosn was quick to point out how allegedly Nissan set him up and how much the company is failing without him, which, to his credit, it kind of is. We called that out. Alex, roll that footage. In the spring of 2019, Nissan lost 95% of net income and 99% of their operating profits. Nissan is basically in the same exact position they were in before Carlos Ghosn took over. With both Nissan and Ghosn throwing out wild accusations about each other, there's a lot of conflicting information out there. So for this video, we're gonna look why Carlos Ghosn thinks the system is rigged against him, why shareholders are putting a $13 million bounty on his head, and if you stick around, you'll hear what we know about the new Nissan 400Z that's supposedly coming out this year. It's a rumor. But first, let's take a look at what Nissan and the new CEO are doing to restore faith in fans and navigate this storm of bad press. In the wake of the Carlos Ghosn scandal, Nissan hired a new interim CEO, Hiroto Saikawa, to clean things up. But he was ousted by the board last September over failing sales and a dispute about his pay. Shortly after, they hired Makoto Uchida, who vowed to turn things around for Nissan, but they didn't pan out, and shareholders started getting fed up with crashing profits. Nissan shareholders weren't the only ones that are disappointed in Uchida. When he traveled to the US headquarters in Nashville back in January, Uchida was verbally accosted. He opened the meeting by saying, quote, "I want to hear all the negatives. I'm here to listen. Don't hold anything back." And I guess they took that to heart because Uchida got reamed for an hour and a half by Nissan dealers who said that the company needed to work hard to fight against their, quote, bargain basement brand reputation. Props to them for being honest. Some of the biggest gripes dealers had were regarding better marketing, almost non-existent profitability, collapsing residual value, and faster product updates. Those all sound like things that we addressed our last episode. We nailed it. Frankly, it's only a matter of time before Uchida either resigns or gets forced out. He's even come out and said that if profits don't bounce back, he's all right with getting fired. It doesn't matter who's in charge after Ghosn though. Nissan needs a new leader with vision, not just a scapegoat. When Carlos Ghosn was in charge, the company expanded production all over the world. But as demand for Nissan cars is continuing to dry up, Nissan has announced that they are eliminating an additional 4,300 white-collar jobs and are considering shutting down 2 of their factories. On top of that, Nissan is cutting 10% of their product line, going from 69 models to 62. This might help them keep their head above water for a little bit, but bigger shakeups need to happen or else Nissan is finished. So that's got me thinking, how did Carlos Ghosn do that 20 years ago? We would have never gotten the 350Z or the new R35 without the cuts Ghosn made. But despite saving the company, he was seen as a villain. I mean, look at this guy's face. Many smaller parts companies had cross-holdings with Nissan, but as soon as Carlos Ghosn took over, he disintegrated those alliances. Frankly, it made sense from a business perspective, but in the eyes of the Japanese, it seemed like a slap in the face from an out-of-touch foreigner. Slowly, Nissan's volume cars started to dilute the brand a little bit. They stopped making cars for enthusiasts, and quality went downhill. While the hate for Ghosn might have subsided as profits bounced back, people started turning on him as soon as things weren't going so great. And that's one of the reasons Ghosn believes he was set up. Which is why, days before our Nissan video dropped, he squeezed himself into a small, insulated box made for audio equipment, which was loaded onto a private jet by hired hands, including the son of an American Green Beret, and he fled to his home country of Lebanon to seek asylum. That's not something that I would have predicted. Now, there's arrest warrants for everyone involved. Jeez. I mean, all I wanted was an S16, but like this sequel to The Bourne Identity is pretty cool too, I guess. Can't wait to read this book. Yep, I read books. I'm reading The Outsider by Stephen King right now, as well as a Bruce McLaren biography, which will come in handy on our podcast, Past Gas. If you haven't listened to or watched Past Gas, it's our podcast. Check it out. We have a second channel for it, Donut Podcast. You can find it right there, or listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you get your podcast. Past Gas. I know, it's an insane thing that only happens in movies.
He reportedly got there in a musical instrument case. I am not making this up.
But it happened, and Carlos Ghosn has been safe in Lebanon since late December. The Lebanese government even came out and said they wouldn't comply with Japanese authorities to extradite Ghosn back to Japan to face prosecution.
I was in Japan and I was under the control of the prosecutor. Now I'm free, I can defend myself.
Nissan shareholders are mad as hell too and are proposing a reward of $13 million in exchange for the return of Carlos Ghosn. $13 million? How much is a ticket to Lebanon? I'm gonna go. He probably has guards. I wanna be a Ghosn goon. I'm not gonna try to catch Carlos Ghosn. I'm gonna become a Ghosn goon. What are we gonna do, boss? And then he can tell me in a cool French accent. I'll be like, I'm on it. That'd be cool. $13 million might seem like a lot for a bounty, but it's a paltry sum compared to the $90 million in damages Ghosn has been sued for, and the estimated $318 million Nissan claims Ghosn cost the company. Despite all this though, Nissan is doing their best to move past it and focus on reinvigorating their brand. How, you ask? We've all heard the rumors, so what can we realistically expect with this new 400Z? It's time to enter the speculation zone. There's been chatter for years now about what Nissan is going to do with their next generation Z. And while details are murky, there are a few key things that have been corroborated. The name 400Z is just a rumor. Nissan hasn't officially come out saying it's going to be called that. But it would make sense given the previous Z numbering, 240, 300, 350, 370. While the numbering usually follows the displacement of the engine, like 3.5 liter, 3.7 liter, the 400Z will apparently not have a 4-liter engine. Some sources have speculated that's going to have a 3-liter turbo V6 similar to the engine in the Infiniti Q60, which makes about 400 horsepower, which is why the 400 in the name makes sense. But the turbo V6 isn't the only engine they would offer. There might be an entry-level 4-cylinder version and even a hybrid version. Who knows? Nissan has apparently partnered with Mercedes to develop the new car, much in the same way that BMW helped Toyota develop the new Supra. So it's entirely possible that the 2-liter turbocharged AMG inline-4 could be the 4-cylinder option. We'll have to wait and see, of course. The top-of-the-line engine for the 400Z would maybe come as part of the Nismo package and might bump the power up to 475, just shy of the 485 that the GT-R makes. That's the kind of high-end performance option we've all been waiting for. Thanks for listening to us, Nissan. That sounds awesome, if it's real. It is speculation after all. All that excitement might be short-lived. The price point of the new Z is probably going to be more towards new Supra territory and further away from what the Zs have traditionally been priced at. Z cars started out as an affordable sports car for the everyman, but as the price gets closer to a GT-R, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? There's an undeniably huge gap between the boring Nissan models that dot our highways and their performance models, and that's alienating Nissan's diehard fans. So hopefully the new Z is affordable. While we're on the subject of the new Supra, why doesn't Nissan take a page out of Toyota's book? We've all heard about the GR Supra, but did you know about the GR Yaris? The Gazoo Racing version of this tiny hot hatch is one of the sickest new cars. I'm super stoked for it, and it proves that manufacturers can make a car for enthusiasts in an era of endless volume cars. That sounds like a lot of fun. My point is, Nissan could totally redeem themselves by making whatever the GR Yaris equivalent is. The Versa right now, it's boring. I would probably never buy one. But just imagine if they came out with a Nismo Versa that had like a 6-speed manual, like 250 horsepower. Maybe it's still front-wheel drive to keep costs down. That seems realistic. And it was just something that you could just throw around and have a ton of fun in. That kind of car would like totally recapture the spirit of like the B13 Sentra SER, because that's what Nissan used to be, man. Like they used to have a fun car at every price level, and that's not really true anymore. In conclusion, I'm very optimistic for Nissan. If they're listening to both their fans and the people that actually sell them, they're trying to right the ship. Keep at it, Nissan. You'll figure it out. You're welcome. Here at WheelHouse, we're saving one car company at a time. That's a very bold thing to say, Nolan. I mean, I can't imagine a world without Nissan. I tried it once and I got a bad headache. Thanks for watching. Be nice. I'll see you next time. Photosynthesis.